When Stevie Nicks steps onto a stage, there's always a hush, like the air itself is waiting to hear her story. Now 76, she remains an eternal enigma draped in velvet and mystery. Her legacy sparkles with multi-platinum albums and rock anthems that defined generations. Behind the haze of Dry Ice and Dreams is a truth she's only recently begun to reveal. A love so intense, it carved itself into her music. The man behind her most haunting lyrics wasn't just a muse. It was the heartbreak she never fully healed from. Back in the 1960s, Stevie met Lindsey Buckingham at Menlo Atherton High School in California. 2 kids, 1 spark, and a future neither of them could have imagined. Their chemistry was instant. You could hear it in their harmonies before you saw it in their eyes. High school talent shows turned into late-night rehearsal. But while life briefly pulled them apart, fate wasn't done with them. 2 years later, Lindsey asked her to join his band, Fritz. From there, their journey into the whirlwind of the music world began, opening for acts like Jefferson Airplane and Janis Joplin. Fritz eventually crumbled, but what remained was more powerful than either of them expected. As lovers and collaborators, Stevie and Lindsey created an emotional ecosystem through their music. Their 1973 album Buckingham Nicks didn't blow up commercially, but it was magnetic enough to catch the ear of Mick Fleetwood. And just like that, their lives changed forever. Joining Fleetwood Mac in 1975 wasn't just a career move, it was the beginning of their myth. Fame came crashing in, intense and glorious, but so did pressure. During the creation of Rumors, the love that had built so many harmonies unraveled. And yet, out of that emotional wreckage came genius. Dreams, Stevie's soft stab at lost love. Go Your Own Way, Lindsey's fiery response. These songs weren't just hits. They were battle cries of heartbreak wrapped in melody. The public adored the chaos. But imagine having your deepest wounds broadcast on vinyl to the world. Still they performed. Still they wrote. Their tension, raw, unresolved, became the emotional engine behind Fleetwood Mac's most unforgettable years. After that rupture, Stevie tumbled into another storm, this time with J.D. Souther. For penning some of the Eagles' most iconic ballads, J.D. met Stevie in the early 70s. It was Los Angeles, golden and restless, where stars crossed paths in smoky clubs and studio hallways. Stevie, fresh from her breakup with Lindsey and climbing fast with Fleetwood Mac, found in J.D. not just a kindred spirit, but someone who knew what it was like to carry the weight of fame. Their connection was artistic, electric, but brief. They shared late-night jam sessions and lyrical confessions. The romance never had a chance to root deeply. Still, it shifted something in Stevie. Watching J.D. move through the music world with ease, reaping privileges rarely extended to women, sparked a fire in her. She was determined to be more than a headline about her relationships. This moment became a turning point. Stevie began fighting harder for her place, not just in the studio, but in the narrative. She was done being defined by the men around her. Brief love story fueled a transformation, feeding into lyrics like "After the Glitter Fades" and "Has anyone ever written anything for you?" They weren't just songs. They were her defiance set to music. Then came the most unexpected chapter of all, her complicated romance with Mick Fleetwood. Relationship that seemed inevitable, yet impossible. Mick, already married, and Stevie, still reeling from past entanglements, found solace in each other during a particularly vulnerable period for the band. Their bond was chaotic, powerful, and brief, but it left aftershocks that echoed through the band's already fragile dynamic. Behind the stage persona, Stevie was navigating a personal labyrinth of love, heartbreak, and identity. And yet, through it all, she built an empire. Her wealth, while quieter than other celebrities, is layered with intentional choices. Stevie's real estate portfolio is substantial. She's owned a stunning Pacific Palisades home with panoramic ocean views, and an Arizona estate where she found peace away from Hollywood. Like many of her peers, Stevie never chased the typical rock star excess. Her choice in cars has reflected understated luxury, classic Mercedes-Benz models, a Range Rover, and more recently a Tesla Model X, reflecting her eco-conscious shift. When it comes to timepieces, Stevie's taste leans toward heritage over flash. She's been spotted wearing vintage Cartier tank watches and understated Rolex date justs. Never the showiest, always timeless. Her taste in luxury is like her songwriting, thoughtful, layered, and deeply personal. But Stevie's wealth wasn't built on royalties alone. She became an astute businesswoman, selling a majority stake of her publishing catalog to Primary Wave for an estimated $100 million. That deal alone is a masterclass in financial foresight. By cashing in at the peak of music catalog valuations, she secured generational wealth while retaining some creative control. Even more quietly, she's invested in touring infrastructure, merchandise operations, and retained partial ownership of her brand identity. Decisions that ensure steady revenue regardless of whether she releases new music. Her approach to financial growth is cautious, strategic, and rooted in long-term thinking. She has prioritized asset preservation over high-risk ventures, and it's paid off. Behind the curtain, her team has maintained robust insurance protections, covering not just her health and voice, but the broader risks associated with touring, stage production, and even image rights. It's the kind of 360-degree coverage usually reserved for A-list CEOs or global athletes. Stevie knows her voice isn't just art. It's an asset, and that's the real lesson here. Stevie Nicks teaches us that success isn't just about survival, it's about reinvention. Proof that heartbreak can become melody, personal pain can be turned into profit, and that a woman can lead in a male-dominated empire without losing her soul. She didn't just ride the wave of rock stardom, she helped create it. And when the wave crashed, she built a lighthouse from the wreckage. It was a love triangle drenched in fame, pressure, and raw emotion. One that left an indelible mark on the sound of an era. At the heart of Fleetwood Mac's late 70s creative storm, Stevie Nicks and Mick Fleetwood's secret romance ignited like a spark in a dry forest. Their connection wasn't just romantic, it was chemical, artistic, and dangerously fragile. Rumors topping the charts, the world hanging on every lyric, while backstage, the band was unraveling. Nicks had just ended things with Lindsey Buckingham, a breakup that already cast long shadows over their music. Meanwhile, Fleetwood's marriage to Jenny Boyd was barely standing. The two found solace in each other, but that solace came with a cost. Their bond simmered beneath the surface during long tours and sleepless studio nights, feeding the fire of both their passion and the band's inner turmoil. This wasn't just a fling. It was a story of two people clinging to each other while the world watched every move. The emotional energy they poured into their private affair bled into their public performances, making Fleetwood Mac's sound pulse with heartbreak, longing, and rage. The very drama that threatened to destroy the band is what gave their music its immortal edge. And for Buckingham, seeing his former partner entangled with his bandmate was a slow burn that never quite cooled. The romance was intense, but like a candle burning at both ends, it couldn't last. Still, the end didn't mean distance. Stevie and Mick had to choose something harder than love: resilience. They carved out a working friendship that kept Fleetwood Mac alive and roaring. That kind of commitment, forged in the fire of a shattered relationship, is rare and powerful. Years later, fans still feel it every time Dreams plays through their speakers. Stevie's story didn't end there. Just as one chapter closed, another storm began to brew. At the height of her fame in 1977, another icon stepped into her life: Don Henley of the Eagles. They were both giants, both scarred by the road, and both riding the wild wave of rock superstar. Their connection? Immediate, magnetic, doomed. This was a pairing of emotional juggernauts who knew too well how to hide pain behind powerful vocals. Understood each other in ways others couldn't. Long hours on tour buses, pressure from labels, and the unrelenting gaze of fans brought them together, but also tore them apart. Their love was fierce, but unstable, like thunder meeting flame. And just as they were trying to balance career and commitment, life hit them with something unexpected. Stevie discovered she was pregnant. It was a moment of reckoning, one that could have rewritten both their lives. But reality didn't give them room to dream. The music world was watching. New albums, upcoming tours, and a tightrope of expectations forced a choice that still echoes in whispered tones. Changed them permanently. While they never built a family, their hearts carried that moment like a phantom melody. Their romance ended, but its haunting tune never stopped playing. Even as heartbreak followed her, Nicks kept creating. that same whirlwind pulled her into the orbit of another force. Producer Jimmy Iovine was the early 80s, and she was launching her solo career with Belladonna. Iovine was a rising titan behind the mixing board, and together, they found not just a shared passion for music, but each other. Their late nights in the studio were electric. Iovine understood Nicks in a way few did. He didn't just hear her voice, he heard her soul. He pushed her boundaries, helped craft the hauntingly iconic Edge of 17, and shaped her solo image into a powerhouse of feminine mystique and independence. As their personal relationship deepened, so did their artistry. Yet, once again, love clashed with ambition. Juggling Fleetwood Mac duties and her solo success became a heavy weight. Iovine, too, was climbing the ranks of music royalty. Romantic relationships strained under the pressure of public life and creative demand. Their connection didn't fade. It evolved. Even after their romance ended, they kept building together, creating sounds that defined a generation. Now, when we talk about Stevie Nicks, we're not just talking about music. We're talking about a woman who turned heartbreak into a business empire. Today, Nicks boasts a net worth estimated at $120 million, and that number is only expected to climb. Her timeless music catalog, still streamed millions of times a month, brings in a steady fortune. In 2020, she sold an 80% stake in her publishing rights for a jaw-dropping $100 million, securing her financial legacy while keeping her most cherished songs. Real estate portfolio, just as iconic. She owns a sprawling Mediterranean-style mansion in Los Angeles, reportedly worth over $10 million, complete with sweeping views of the Pacific and custom-designed interiors inspired by her signature boho chic style. She previously owned estates in Paradise Valley, Arizona, and even a hidden gem in Pacific Palisades that drew headlines for its mystic decor. Nicks has always balanced grounded elegance with rock star flair. She's known for driving understated luxury cars, favoring vintage Mercedes-Benz models, and, more recently, a sleek black Porsche Cayenne. Her accessories of choice often include high-end Cartier and Bulgari timepieces, sometimes paired with handmade silver rings and heirloom jewels that reflect her ethereal aesthetic. As for jets, while she doesn't flaunt a private fleet, insiders say she frequently charters top-tier Gulf streams for her tours and personal travel, ensuring she moves in both style and comfort. Behind the velvet shawls and stage fog is a woman who navigated the wild chaos of fame and heartbreak with grit and built a financial fortress along the way. Her real power isn't just in her voice. It's in her ability to survive, evolve, and still draw sold-out crowds 40 years later. And that's what keeps us coming back. Not just the music, but the myth. The human story stitched beneath the rhinestones and spotlight. Because in every haunting lyric and every public smile hiding a private storm, Stevie Nicks gives us something more than entertainment. She gives us a reflection of the messy, beautiful, relentless fight to hold on to identity, love, and self-worth in a world built to consume it. The transformation of Stevie Nicks from a rock goddess to a figure of deep personal wisdom has been nothing short of extraordinary. But behind the velvet, lace, and mystique lies a tale far more human than most fans ever imagined. When the world saw her belting out Edge of 17, few knew she was crumbling inside from grief. Robin Snyder, her best friend, was battling terminal leukemia while pregnant, news that tore through Stevie like a hurricane. When Robin passed, Stevie didn't just lose a friend, she lost a piece of her soul. In a moment of heartbreak so profound it defied logic, Stevie married Robin's widower, Kim Anderson, just 3 months later. It wasn't about romance. It was a desperate act of love, a way to keep Robin's spirit close. But grief makes for a fragile foundation. Their marriage, though well-intentioned, crumbled within 8 months. Still, that chapter of her life revealed something deeper. Stevie Nicks wasn't just the queen of mystical lyrics. She was a woman battling overwhelming emotion, trying to make sense of loss in the most human way possible. Her decision to take in Robin's child and step into a maternal role, even briefly, is often misunderstood. But in her own words, it was never about romance. It was about loyalty and perhaps guilt. That raw emotional honesty resurfaced again in her relationship with Joe Walt. At a time when both artists were drowning in the madness of fame and addiction, They found a kind of peace in each other. He wasn't just another rock star boyfriend. He was her equal, her creative counterpart. He called him her soulmate. That's not a word Stevie throws around lightly. Their love wasn't all ballads and candlelight. It was fierce, chaotic, and ultimately too much. Addiction had cast its shadow over both of them, and as much as they loved each other, they knew they had to walk away to survive. That breakup, she later admitted, shattered her. Yet, it also birthed some of her most powerful music. This wasn't the kind of Hollywood heartbreak you read in tabloids. It was a woman choosing growth over comfort, healing over habit. Their breakup didn't end their bond, it evolved it. Walsh remained in her life as a confidant and friend, proving that sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that never quite fit into conventional boxes. That heartbreak bled into her lyrics, and fans could feel it. Her songs stopped being just music. They became emotional maps. While Stevie's romantic life often took center stage, her financial empire was quietly expanding. Today, her net worth is estimated at $120 million, a stark contrast to the leaner early days when she split songwriting royalties and tour revenue with Fleetwood Mac. But Stevie played the long game. Her solo career soaring, she began collecting royalties that added up over the decades, particularly from evergreen hits like Landslide and Dreams, which continue to generate millions thanks to licensing and streaming deals. Her real estate portfolio reveals the lifestyle of a legend who never needed to scream wealth. She simply lived it. In Los Angeles, she owns a Spanish-style villa tucked in the Pacific Palisades, pretty valued north of $6 million. Another home in Paradise Valley, Arizona, features a tranquil garden and custom recording studio, her sacred creative space. Stevie never flaunted opulence for the sake of it. Her luxury choices were always rooted in comfort and artistry. When it comes to transportation, she's chosen timeless over flashy. Her garage has housed everything from a vintage Jaguar XJS to a Mercedes S-Class, vehicles known for elegance, not extravagance. In interviews, she's admitted to being drawn more to their curves and quiet power than their price tags. Although she's never been seen strutting a fleet of watches like other celebrities, she's known to favor Cartier classics, occasionally sporting a Tank Française during red carpet events, a nod to her timeless aesthetic. But it's her behind-the-scenes business acumen that often gets overlooked. In 2020, she sold an 80% stake in her song catalog to Primary Wave for an estimated $100 million. That single move secured generational wealth while maintaining her legacy. It was a masterstroke in financial planning, one that protected her artistry and opened new doors for her estate. She also has smaller investments in music publishing ventures and charitable arts foundations. Quiet but strategic plays show a woman who learned how to make her money work for her, not the other way around. Insurance-wise, insiders say Stevie has maintained comprehensive policies, covering not just her real estate and luxury assets, but also career-ending health coverage, crucial protection for a touring artist. For someone who battled addiction and underwent treatment more than once, those policies weren't optional. They were survival tools. They represent the wisdom she gained through pain. What can fans learn from her financial journey? Starters: diversify, protect your creative work, and don't be afraid to evolve. Stevie didn't just build a fortune. She built a legacy. She didn't let fame define her wealth. She let wisdom guide her. The difference between temporary riches and lasting impact. The emotional toll of her journey, it never quite leaves her. Even today, she speaks of Robin, of Joe, of those moments, not with regret, but reverence. She wears her past like one of her trademark shawls, gossamer, delicate, and filled with meaning. Her music has become a living journal, a way for her to honor not just her love stories, but her losses, her wins, her resilience. Every note she sings is a page from that diary. Stevie Nicks doesn't just sing about love. She lived through the kind that breaks and rebuilds you. In an industry filled with facades, her transparency has always been her most valuable currency. That's why fans still follow her, still feel every lyric. She made her pain our poetry. Behind the mystique and the moonlight dances is a woman who's been broken and healed, lost and found, rich in both dollars and depth. Her story isn't just about fame, it's about survival. And that's why her legacy will never fade. Because in a world of fleeting headlines, Stevie Nicks remains timeless. From iconic romances to raw confessions and million-dollar empires, These stars keep rewriting the script. Like, drop your thoughts, and subscribe. Because next week, the spotlight shifts again.